welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, I love to share about self-care that goes beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. Nothing wrong with those external forms of self-care, but there is so much to be learned when we go on the inside, where it takes courage and it's uncomfortable because it changes your life. I am thrilled to have with me today Jenna Free on the show. Jenna, welcome.
Hi, so glad to be here.
Jenna, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. I'm an intuitive eating counselor, and I work together with Lauren McCulley, my partner, who's a body love coach. And we are with the Body Love Society, and we help women ditch the diet and finally find sanity around food and in their bodies and the freedom to live exactly like you're saying, a courageous big life instead of always focusing on just trying to make their bodies smaller. We help women make their lives bigger.
Oh, I'm sure so many women are going right now, that's me. I could use help with that. Yeah, why is it that we want to make our bodies smaller? That's a great question.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I do think it's a great distraction. Counting calories all day and worrying about your waistline is a lot less deep work. And it's an easy cover up for like, what's actually wrong? Why don't I think I'm worthy? What is actually at the core of all of that? And I was in that for 10 years myself of, if I looked perfect, my life would be perfect. But that's, unfortunately, we have to do deeper work than that to find true contentment. So That's what we do.
Oh, I'm just covered in goosebumps because that is completely the truth. I love what you're doing. So, Jenna, what would you say is your favorite self-care practice?
Well, my favorite practice, especially like you're talking about going a bit deeper, is listening to my body. So for so many years, I just followed outside rules, what the magazine said, what I should be feeding myself, all of these things I was being told from the outside and just absorbing it and doing what anyone says. And now I ignore all these outer cues and just listen to my body and I give it what it wants. And that I think is the biggest form of self-care for me, because then I'm not thrown off balance when things are being thrown my way. I know I can tune into myself and know the answers. I don't need to go look it up in a magazine. I don't need to figure out, well, what should I eat? It doesn't matter. What do I want to eat? What would feel good? So that's my favorite thing to focus on.
I just love that. And it's so true. And that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients too, not specifically on food, but our bodies have all the wisdom we need. We actually don't need to go outside at all and seek answers, like you're saying, from magazines or experts. Everything we need to know is in there. But for a lot of us, we just haven't learned how to listen. Exactly. And so it's so valuable. And I love that that's your favorite self-care practice. That hits home for me. And I encourage all of our listeners to find someone who can help you learn how to listen to your body, because the wisdom there is just beyond anything you've ever experienced.
Absolutely.
So Jenna, I love to get our guests to share a story of courage. So I'm looking forward to hearing yours.
Yeah, totally. I think the thing that really pops to mind is just the transition I made from that life of like how I looked was everything to now. It's definitely scary because what I have to say and who I am is what matters. And that leaves you a lot more vulnerable than just looking a certain way. Mm-hmm. So I used to model overseas. My whole life was based around looking a certain way. And I knew I wanted to start a business around wellness and health. And I thought, okay, once I look like a fitness model, then I can start my business. Then I'll be perfect enough to put myself out there. But once I did start doing a bit of work, really questioning myself why I had these beliefs, I realized like, no, I actually want to help people. Once I was at that place where, it's not all about the way I look. I wanted to help people get there as well. And I knew I was going to just have to be myself. I wasn't going to be able to look perfect because I never did. Yeah. I wasn't going to be able to do everything perfectly. I just had to do it. And so taking those first steps was definitely hard. I now put pictures of myself up that I would have been devastated that were even taken in the past. And now I'm like, I'm excited to share this. I have these flaws, but I still feel great. Like, that's amazing. Well, flaws in quotations, because our society makes us think we have all these flaws when we don't. But that was definitely the biggest leap, going from thinking I had to look perfect to even be seen in the world to leave the house, to have any picture taken, it had to just be pristine, to now being like, oh, I don't look perfect in that. I better share that because that vulnerability and that openness and that realness, I have found, just connects people so much stronger than any beautiful, well lit, staged photo ever could. So it's definitely about vulnerability, but it's so much more powerful when you're vulnerable, but it's also
Mm,
scary.
absolutely. Oh, that's very similar to my journey too, wanting everything to be perfect on the outside, growing up in the dance world. It's all
Mm.
about getting all the steps right. It's about fitting into a certain image of the dancer's body, being super critical about what is being seen in the mirror, comparing to other people on either side of me who seem to have it all, and uh, very different from me. All the kids I danced with were so skinny.
Yeah.
And yeah, learning to be vulnerable, like there was just, for me, there was this shield around and no one was going to get in because yeah, what if people didn't actually like me for what was on the inside? That's so much scarier than if they don't like you for
Yeah,
what's on the outside.
totally.
So do you remember a specific instance, Jenna, where you were vulnerable on purpose and it was scary?
Yeah, I think, well, every day in my business, I know I am, because like I specifically do videos like without makeup. When I just wake up, I'll go on Facebook Live and do videos. And like, it's still sometimes like, ooh, do I look, not like, maybe I don't look professional. Maybe people won't take me seriously. But I know that being that real and open and just honest about who you are and how life is, uh, I know it's powerful, but sometimes it's still very scary. But I still do it because I know it's worth it. And I've even had people say like, "Oh, you seem so real. You seem so like, that's so cool," because they're so used to seeing people just looking perfect, especially online and in media, having to have the full hair and makeup and a nice outfit on to go do any sort of presentation or even just video on Facebook. Because we've also been taught, like as a woman, that if you're not wearing makeup and doing your hair, it's unprofessional, which I think is really interesting because, I mean, men don't have to do anything. They just wake up and put a suit on and they look so professional. So I also like to push against that idea that you have to have a full face of makeup to look professional, because it's not even about beauty, but like looking put together. But like, this is my face. I can't do much about it. So I like to share that. And it's definitely vulnerable because in this world of beauty obsession, it's hard to not join that.
Yes, I can identify with that totally. And you're right. All the, I have taken lots of media training, and the consistent message is even if you're going outside your house, you need to look like you would look at your most professional.
Mm.
Like there's just no permission to look how you actually look.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like don't leave your house in this kind of clothing. Make sure you always look put together. So that is a very strong message that's out
Mm.
there. And yeah, I honor you because it does take courage to fight against that or come up against that and
Mm.
just be real.
Yeah. And I think it's, I know it's so powerful though, because then it gives other people permission to do the same.
Yeah.
So, and that's everything I do in my work, is to give other people permission to do the same, which I think has made me a lot stronger and less scared. Because like, oh, I'm going to put this picture up where I have a couple stomach rolls, and I still understand I'm still a thin, quote unquote, pretty fit into the Western view of what good looking is. So I understand I don't have a lot of the pushback that a larger woman would if she's posting pictures. But to me, that's and I know from the past that would have been a big deal to show those pictures. But for now, I'm almost empowered by it, because I know it's going to help other people be like, oh, I don't have to look perfect either. So, and that's my biggest motivation, is to help other people feel comfortable in their skin as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it's all we have.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
home for our soul. That's what we get to walk
Mm.
around in this lifetime. And if you don't have a body, you don't get to partake in what's happening.
Yeah, totally.
I'm curious, Jenna, about your transition from modeling into this work. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I went for my second overseas trip to South Africa, which I'm actually going to South Africa on Wednesday as a tourist for the first time. I'm so excited to like experience it as someone who can relax and have fun, not that's starving herself and
Mm.
just trying to look perfect. So that's really cool. Come full circle. But after my second trip, I didn't have a good experience. I met very rude people. I didn't connect with anyone. It was very different than my other trips. The other trips I took were almost like a movie. Like met amazing people and had model parties and lived in this big model house, and it was very glamorous and fun. And that last trip though was really hard on me. I lost like a bunch of weight before I even went on the trip, but they're still pinching and prodding you, being like, "Oh, your waist needs to be smaller," and this and that. And I had just felt so defeated. And I came home and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, this is not, I can't maintain this. Because, I mean, many models either are very sick with food relationship or eating disorder, or they're just naturally like freakishly skinny. And that's
Mhm.
not a problem. Like, it's just, we see it as like, how can that be when I fight so hard to stay thin? And these models are drinking and partying and eating, and they're just so naturally thin. And they're beautiful and wonderful, and every body is a good body. But when that's the right body to have in the modeling industry, it can be really disheartening when you have to fight so hard for that. So I was definitely a person who had to fight to stay thin enough. And I knew I couldn't maintain that. So I came home and then I went back to school to be a teacher. And then I taught for a couple years. That helps a lot. Being around children who don't care at all what you look like is helps so much, because you're like, wow, they value me for like the love I give them and the way I teach, not the way I look. So that was a great start. And then I had a couple moments. One was getting ready for a trip with my husband and his parents to Mexico. And I was standing in front of the mirror with my bathing suit on. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so fun. I'll just lose 5 more pounds before I go. And then it'll be so fun. I was like, I cannot enjoy anything as it is. Like, I have to always be manipulating, always be good enough, always be like, there was nothing I was ever just excited about. Even a party. Okay, I'm going to diet before that party so I look really good in my dress. Or there was, and that really dawned on me. And then the second thing that really pushed me over the edge of like, I got to figure something out, was I was selling Beachbody products at the moment, at the time, which was like bad life choice for me, but that didn't last long. But I went downstairs to go do my workout in like my dark, cold, unfinished basement, putting my shoes on. I was like, I do not want to be doing this. This is the last thing I want to do right now. Why do I have to do this? I always have to do all this stuff. I was like, I'm the only one telling myself I have to do any of this. And it really dawned on me, like, I'm not a kid in school. I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want. But I felt like it was rules that I was I was breaking rules, but I made all these rules. So that really started me thinking of how I had power to change that. That hadn't dawned on me before, that I was the one keeping myself in line like that and I could let myself free. So that really started just my journey into what would it be like if I didn't care so much. And it's turned out amazing, because the funny thing is your body likes it when you actually listen to it and give it what it wants. Now my weight is so stable and I feel awesome and I'm never fluctuating. I don't binge anymore. And like food is so easy when I thought it would never be that way.
Mm, that's so powerful. And I love what you said. It just sounds so ridiculous when you say it out loud. If I lose 5 pounds, this trip will be so much more fun.
Yeah.
That just doesn't even make any sense, right?
I know. And I'm with people that love me and do not care. Like, it's
Yeah.
so dumb. It's not like I was some single girl trying to go party. And it's like, it's funny. And then you get a lot of our clients are like, I'd say 40 to 65,
Mhm.
and they're worrying about it. And it's like, it's just so funny how we're strong women that have great partners that love us unconditionally, or you're single, but especially like you have so much stability and love and everyone loves you just as you are, but you're so obsessed with the way you look. It's really interesting if you think about the reality of it. It's like no one else cares but you.
Right. Yeah.
So why do we care so much when everyone around us is like, relax, you're perfect just the way you are. Let's go get
Yeah.
pizza. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, I can't. It's the end of the world. So it's really interesting.
Wow, that is just so powerful. I resonate with that on so many levels, and it's completely aligned with courageous self care. There's 12 different foundations, and you're speaking to so many of them, like the intuition and living for fun and lightness and playfulness rather than hard and rules and must do. And it's one of the things that I had an epiphany around was life is so much better when we focus on how it feels, not on how it looks.
Exactly. And that's what we teach is like, okay, eat that. Did it make you feel good? No. Okay. Well, maybe you don't eat it all the time, or that's something that you have to be like, okay, I know this doesn't make me feel good, but it's worth it today. And sometimes it's not
Mm.
going to be. So listening to your body, and like we really focus on like getting more present, so focusing on just today. So today, what's going to make you feel good, not what does the plan say to do today, even though you so don't want to do that. It's like, what foods are going to taste good today, what movement's going to feel good today. And some days that's going to be pizza and relaxing on the couch, and some days that's going to be an awesome big chicken salad and going for a run. It doesn't matter, there's no right answer, but if you don't listen to your body, how do you know what it wants? And then if you give it what it wants, then it's happy, and you're not thinking about food all day and obsessing and worrying. It's just content.
Mm. Jenna, I'm so glad that you're doing this work. I know it's so needed. And
Thank you.
I just feel so happy that you are helping women in this way, because once we get our minds off of all these little nitpicking, critical stuff, then we can really step
Mm.
into our power and do the work that we're meant to do.
Absolutely. And just one more thing is like to help motivate people to make that change is like dieting is just a tool for female oppression. So
Mm.
if you really are like one of those people who is like, no, the system will not rule me, I'll stick it to the man, ditching the diet is like the best way to stick it to society. Because it really is so limiting, and that I think is a big piece of why um, there's a lot of inequality, where we've been taught to be preoccupied with things that don't matter. So to get out of that is really empowering.
Mm. I love it. I'm so happy. So our time has flown by. If
Yeah,
people want to learn more about what you're doing and connect with you, where can they find you online?
absolutely. We're at thebodylovesociety.com, and we're also on Instagram at the Body Love Society.
Where we can see all those real pictures of you.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I also want to invite you. You heard Jenna's story of courage. I'm sure it has given you permission to honor yourself in a different way. And if you also have a story of courage, we would love to hear from you, because each woman who shares a story of courage is empowering. The ripple effect goes out, and the more we share our courageous stories, the more we can be courageous in our own lives. So if you would like to apply to be a guest, please go to ChristinaMarlette.com. There's a box there that you can click on and do the application. So I would love to hear from you. Jenna, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, so I want to leave you with this final thought. There is nothing selfish about self-care. When you prioritize your well being on purpose, you are not only improving your life so that you can live how it feels rather than how it looks, you are improving the lives of everyone around you because you're showing up with love. So make sure that you go out and do something courageous today and honor yourself by practicing self care. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye for now.